Hello friends and welcome to this session for GATE and ESE Electrical Engineering. My friend, this session is going to be one of the most awesome session and you are going to really learn something very new and something that will help you in the exam. In the exam for GATE, may it be 2021 or it may be 2022. Now, before we start the lecture, my friend, let me introduce you myself. My name is Ankit Goyal. I got AIR 1 in GATE 2014 and GATE 2018. And my friend, I was also awarded the President of India Gold Medal by the President himself in the year 2013 when I graduated from IIT Indore. Presently, I am working as a director at an academy for GATE department, and that is why constantly I am able to bring new and more initiatives for you. Because an academy is not an institute. An academy is not a coaching. An academy is more of a revolution. An academy is more of a feeling. An academy has everything right that is wrong with every other coaching institute in the country. The name An Academy, my friend, has been comprised of two words, un and academy. That means it has everything that is not there in an academy. So an academy cares about the student in the best way possible. It cares about the student most than or more than any other person can. All the initiatives are centered on the student. That is, they are always working towards the student welfare. And that is why, my friend, you are watching this course on power system. That is why, my friend, you are watching this course on power system free of cost on our YouTube channel. So my friend, if you are visiting this channel for the first time, make sure that you have subscribed, because we have electrical machine, power electronics, power system, communication system, EMT, EDC, network, signal, control, digital, everything is here on this channel, that too free of cost, my friend. But what has An Academy done? An Academy has brought a revolution in the country where they are providing the most affordable education, and that too free of that too at the most affordable price, as well as free of cost on YouTube. So my friend, if you want to be a part of the revolution that An Academy has created by means of the courses that are running on An Academy, where they are bringing you the best ever educators of the country on a single platform. That is, you, my friend, can be able to learn from India's top educator at the cheapest or at the most affordable prices possible. At the most affordable prices possible. Now, my friend, I'm talking to you. You can dare to dream. You can dare to enter a PSU. You can dare to dream about MTech from an IIT. Why? Because An Academy has made it possible. An Academy has done everything that is required to get the best rank in GATE examination. So my friend, if you want to join An Academy, make sure that you use the code Ankit ESE, because the door to An Academy opens with this code, and this directly makes me your mentor so that I can guide you at each and every step regarding your GATE preparation. And not only this, you will also get 10% discount on your subscription. Now, what does An Academy bring for you? Not only the live classes. The live classes are the best part of An Academy, where you can interact with the educator, ask your doubt, and make sure that you understand each and every concept and then only exit the class. But other than that, you get dedicated doubt session, where you can post a pic of a question and ask any doubt, any number of doubts. Then you have weekly quizzes. Every Sunday we test how much you have understood. Then there are daily practice paper which we provide you for practice. Then there are practice questions from An Academy. Then there are test series from An Academy. Then there is crash course where we will boost your rank in the last few months. There is rank improvement batch for the students who have already done well in the GATE examination. Now, my friend, all of this just with one subscription fees, where you don't have to pay anything again and again or anything extra. That is the magic of An Academy. Just join An Academy without thinking too much.
Hi guys, in the last unit we focused our attention to the fault analysis. That is, we were studying what happens to a power system under the faulty conditions. In this unit what we will do is, we will study about the stability of a system. That is, whenever an abnormal condition occurs in a system, how does my system behave? whether it will remain stable or unstable. If it remains stable, then what is the criterion for stability and how to determine whether a system will be stable or unstable. Now the first question that comes to mind, what is meant by stability? Now stability of any system, whether it is a control system, whether it is the power system or any other system, stability implies that whenever that system is disturbed from its original position, then it must be able to return to its original position. That is, let us take an example of a pendulum. Now the mean position of pendulum is like this. If you disturb it sideways, then it will oscillate about the mean position, but it will eventually settle down to its mean position. So that is why this system is stable. Okay, that means any stable system must always reach the initial condition again after experiencing a disturbance. That is the criterion for stability. Now, why does a disturbance occur in a power system? That disturbance may be due to mechanical load on a machine, or it may be due to fault occurring at the power terminals of a machine, or in case of transmission line. Like fault can occur at the generator terminals as well as in a transmission line, which will cause a disturbance in the system and lead to stability problem. Okay, so similar to the case of pendulum, whenever a disturbance will occur, even in power system, we will experience some oscillations. Okay, and if those oscillations are bounded and they finally settle down to steady state, we will call the power system as stable. Now there are various types of stability when it comes to power system. First is called as voltage stability. Now voltage at different buses of a power system must be stable. By voltage stability we mean that mod V should lie between 0.95 to 1.05 of V rated. That is, it must lie within plus minus 5% of the rated voltage. If voltage goes beyond this limit, we will call it as unstable, or we will call it as voltage unstable. Okay, so voltage at any bus must be controlled within this limit, and to control the voltage we use voltage control techniques that we looked at earlier. There, by using reactive power compensation, we will try to reduce the under voltages and over voltages. That is, for under voltages we were using a shunt capacitor, and for over voltages we were using a shunt reactor. The next type of stability is called as frequency stability. It suggests that frequency of a system must always belong to 49.5 to 50.5 Hertz. That is within plus minus 1% of rated frequency. That is termed as your frequency stability. Why? Because if frequency of a system fluctuates, then what will happen? Then the system will lose synchronism, and that can cause the machines to come to a halt, and that is always undesirable. Okay, so system must remain in synchronism, and for that frequency must be bounded, or it must lie within certain range of the rated frequency. The third type of stability is called as angular stability. It talks about the stability of rotor angle of a machine. By rotor angle we mean delta. So it talks about the stability of the angle delta, that is whenever the delta oscillates due to a disturbance. Now suppose we know that P is equal to P max sine delta. If you change P suddenly, then that will also affect the delta, because P is proportional to sine delta. That is, delta is directly proportional to sine inverse P. Directly proportional to sine inverse P. If you change P suddenly, then it will affect delta. So if P is changed suddenly like this from P1 to P2, then what will happen? Delta was initially at delta 1. It must go to delta 2. But what actually happens is, it will oscillate around this position. and finally settle down to delta 2. Now if these oscillations are bounded and it is finally settling down to delta 2, this system will be called as stable. That is what is meant by angular stability. Now when we talk about angular stability, there can be different cases, like if there is a small disturbance. In case of small disturbance, what will happen is we call the stability as the steady state stability. In case of small disturbance, it will be steady state stability. And with steady state stability, our objective is to determine the maximum loading capability of a machine. That is, what is the maximum load that can be applied to a machine before it loses synchronism. Okay, so that is your steady state stability. If you introduce a large disturbance, now this large disturbance may be due to a fault, it is called as transient stability. Okay, here we look at the actual oscillations of the rotor angle delta and determine whether it will be stable or not. Okay, it deals with large disturbance. And last one is dynamic stability. That also comes under angular stability. It deals with small but regular disturbance, means we will use the regular disturbances, that is periodic disturbances. Continuously you have to apply disturbance after a certain interval. That is your dynamic stability. Okay, so small disturbance steady state, large disturbance transient, small and continuous, that is your dynamic stability. Now when we are talking about oscillations in a machine, we have to look at the mechanical aspects of synchronous machine. Whatever we study in electrical machine that deals with electrical aspects of the synchronous machine, that is what is the power delivered by the machine, what is the voltage regulation, what is the induced EMF. We never talk about the shaft of the machine, that what is the inertia of the shaft, what is the torque on the shaft, what is the speed of the shaft, and what is the mechanical energy stored in the shaft. So for stability we have to consider mechanical aspect also. So let us first look at the term called as inertia constant. Okay, so first let us understand about the kinetic energy. In a synchronous machine, kinetic energy will be half J omega Sm square. Here omega Sm refers to your synchronous speed in mechanical domain, because as we have studied in machine, there are two domain, one is mechanical and other is electrical. But since kinetic energy is defined in mechanical domain, we will take the omega Sm. J is your moment of inertia. Okay, now this is your kinetic energy that is stored in the rotor of any machine, but this is defined in the mechanical terms. What we are interested in is, we are interested in deriving the power or deriving the energy in terms of electrical domain. Okay, so to determine the energy in electrical domain, what we will do is theta E is equal to P by 2 times theta M, which implies theta M is equal to 2 by P theta E. If we differentiate both sides, omega Sm will be equal to 2 by P omega S. That is, mechanical synchronous speed is equal to 2 by P times electrical synchronous speed. So if we substitute it here, kinetic energy will become half J 2 by P square into omega S square. This will be written as half J into 2 by P square omega S into omega S. Okay, and this we define it as half M omega S, where M will be equal to J into 2 by P square omega S. This is called as inertia constant. Now what will be the units of this inertia constant? If you see, kinetic energy is equal to half M omega S that is m is directly proportional to kinetic energy by omega s. Kinetic energy has the unit megajoule, omega s has the unit electrical radian per second. So this will be megajoule second per electrical radian. That will be the units of inertia constant m. Okay. Now, whenever we are dealing with per unit system, we also define another type of inertia constant that is represented by h. Now, what is h actually? We say that kinetic energy is equal to g into h, where g is your machine base, that is the MVA base of the machine. So what will be the unit of h? Kinetic energy is megajoule, G is MVA, megajoule per MVA. Or this is energy by power, so it will be second. Okay, this will be the unit of h. Now we know that GH will be equal to half m omega s, which implies m is equal to 2gh by omega s, or we can say gh by pi f, because omega s will be 2 pi f. So m is equal to gh by pi f. This is in megajoule second per electrical radian, or it can also be written as gh by 180 f in megajoule second per electrical degree. Okay. So here we have defined two type of inertia constants. One is m and the other is h. So remember, both are called as inertia constants, but you have to differentiate based on the units that is being asked in any problem. If you remember the units, you will be easily able to identify which inertia constant it is talking about. So that gives us the kinetic energy in the electrical domain, by which we can analyze the mechanical aspects of the machine in electrical domain. Now, let us talk about swing equation. Whenever we are talking about a synchronous machine, suppose this is the shaft of machine. This is rotor. This is my shaft. Now, shaft will have a shaft torque that is applied, and there will be a electromagnetic torque developed which will be opposite to this shaft torque. Now, shaft torque minus electromagnetic torque will be part of inertia torque plus damping torque. Tj means inertia torque, Tb means damping. Now, we will take damping torque to be 0 for worst case analysis. Why? Because here we are talking about oscillations of the rotor, and damping term will damp out these oscillations, which will tend to make the system more stable. So if we are doing worst case analysis, I am assuming that there is no damping present in the system, due to which we will analyze the oscillations having a constant amplitude or having the highest amplitude. Okay. So that means Tj will be shaft torque minus electromagnetic torque. Now inertia torque is always J d square theta m by dt square. Now again this is in mechanical domain. So let me write as theta m is equal to 2 by p theta e. So J into 2 by p d square theta e by dt square will be equal to Ts minus Tem. Now I am not very much comfortable in dealing with the torques since I belong to electrical engineering, but I am very much comfortable when it comes to power, because electrical engineering is also power engineering. So let us convert these torques into power. How to convert a torque into power is by multiplying the torque with speed. So multiply omega Sm by on both the sides. 2 by p omega Sm d square theta e by dt square will be equal to Ts minus Tem omega Sm. Now we know omega Sm is also 2 by P omega s. Substitute this value on the left hand side. What you will get is J into 2 by P square omega s, which is also equal to M d square theta E by dt square. Now Ts into speed will be shaft power, and this will be electrical power output of the machine. So M into d square theta E by dt square will give me shaft power or let us say mechanical power minus electrical power. Here this is your rotor acceleration. But now since we are talking about oscillations of the rotor angle delta, we must find a relation between this theta E and delta. Okay. So consider the shaft of the machine. This is my fixed reference, that is the reference at rest. So it has a speed 0. This stator axis or synchronously rotating frame, so it has a speed omega s. This is rotor speed which rotates at a speed omega. Now under steady state, we know that the rotor rotates at synchronous speed. We will say omega is equal to omega s. But if it is not equal to omega s, then from the figure if you identify theta E is equal to delta plus omega s t. So delta is actually the angle of the rotor axis from a synchronously rotating frame. Okay, this synchronously rotating frame is actually the resultant of the stator and the armature MMF. Why? Because we know the power angle is defined between FF and FR. We know these are the two MMFs, FF, FAR. The resultant will be FR oriented at an angle delta. So this will rotate at a speed omega s, this will rotate at a speed omega. And we are assuming a synchronously rotating frame, that is, let us say this one. So this angle is theta, this angle is delta. Now since this frame is rotating at synchronous speed, in time t it will travel by an angle omega s into t. That is, angular speed into time will give me the angle. That is why theta E is equal to delta plus omega s t. Differentiate both sides. D theta E by dt is equal to d delta by dt plus omega s. Now since rotor is rotating at a speed omega, d theta by dt is omega. Omega minus omega s is equal to d delta by dt. This is a very important equation that you have to remember, which will come in handy when we will take the case of transient stability. Now differentiate this equation again. It will be d square theta E by dt square is equal to d square delta by dt square. Now we can substitute it in the equation that we derived earlier. We will get m into d square delta by dt square will be equal to Pm minus P. That is actually the first version of the swing equation. Okay. So m is the inertia constant. Delta is the angle between the rotor axis and a synchronously rotating frame. Pm is the mechanical input or the shaft input to the machine. Pe is the electrical output of the machine. Now if we substitute m in terms of h to derive another swing equation, gh by pi f d square delta by dt square will be Pm minus P. Now divide both sides by g. H by pi f d square delta by dt square is equal to Pm minus Pe by g. Now we know g is the MVA base. So P divided by g will give me per unit power. That is Pm minus Pe in Pu. That will be the another case of swing equation. So with h we get the swing equation in per unit. Okay, here delta will be in radian or electrical radian. If delta is in degrees, this equation will be h by 180 f d square delta by dt square equal to Pm minus P. Here delta will be in degree. Okay, so these are called as swing equation, and they illustrate how the rotor angle oscillates with the change in power or with the imbalance in the mechanical and the electrical power. Under steady state, Pm minus Pe must be 0. So that is why acceleration is 0 or speed is constant. Okay. So omega s will be constant. But whenever any abnormal condition occurs, then Pm and Pe will be different, due to which rotor will accelerate and speed will change. Now this equation we have derived for a single machine. But when we talk of a practical power system, there will be a large number of generators connected to the system. Then what will happen? We have to solve the swing equation for each and every machine, and it will become very complicated. So it would be really helpful for me if I can convert the system into a single machine system. That is, I can determine an equivalent system. So that will convert the entire power system into a single machine system, and I will have to solve only one equation. But remember, that can only be done for a 2-machine system. But if it is a multi-machine system having 5 or 10 machines, then you will have to solve the swing equations for each and every machine. So let us first take the case when 2 alternators are operating in parallel and they are operating coherently. Now coherent swing implies that the rotor angle of both the machines are equal. That is called as coherent swinging. Now if we form the swing equation for first machine, it will be, let us form in terms of m in m1 d square delta 1 by dt square is equal to Pm1 minus Pe1. M2 d square delta 2 by dt square will be equal to Pm2 minus Pe2. Now what is the significance that delta 1 is equal to delta 2 is equal to delta? If both the machines have the same angle, then there will be no real power exchange between the machines. Okay. Real power cannot flow from one machine to the other machine. Now if we add these two equations, we will get m1 plus m2. Delta 1 is equal to delta 2, so this can be taken out common. Pm1 plus Pm2 minus Pe1 plus Pe2. Now Pm1 plus Pm2 signifies the total mechanical input to the system, and Pe1 plus Pe2 signifies the total electrical output of the system. M equivalent d square delta by dt square. So equivalent inertia constant is actually m1 plus m2. Okay. What about the other inertia constant, that is h? So substitute the value of m in this expression. G1 h1 by pi f, G2 h2 by pi f. Let us say system has a different base, G system, h equivalent by pi f. So from here h equivalent will be G1 by G equivalent h1, G2 by G equivalent h2. G equivalent and G system are one and the same thing. What I am saying is that since h requires a base to be defined for h to exist, because G is the base. Now whenever we have two machines, each machine can have its individual base. So we will find the equivalent constant based on a universal base. Like when we were dealing with faults, we were representing the entire power system on a universal or a common base. Same thing is here when we are dealing with multiple machines. We will choose a universal base and represent the entire power system on that base. Now let us take a problem. In a system there are two generators that are operating in parallel, operating 250 MVA. One has an inertia constant 6 megajoule per MVA, other has an inertia constant 150. Generator of 150 MVA has 4 megajoule per MVA. We have to find the inertia constant on 100 MVA common base. So what we will do is, we know that H equivalent is G1 H1 by G system, G2 H2 by G system. That is 250 into 6 by 100 plus 150 into 4 by 100. So it will come out to be 21 megajoule per MVA. So this way we can convert the two machine system into a single machine system. Okay. Now suppose I give you a case whenever the machines are not swinging coherently, that is your incoherent operation. If machines are not swinging coherently, that what does that mean? Delta 1 is not equal to delta 2, which implies since the angles are not same, there will be real power exchange. Okay, if there is a real power exchange between the machine, one will deliver real power, other will absorb. So machine delivering real power will act as a generator, other one absorbing real power will act as a motor. Now the swing equation of machines will be, let me write in terms of m only, m1 d square delta 1 by dt square is equal to pm1 minus pe1. Next is m square m2 d square delta 2 by dt square will be pm2 minus pe2. Now the machines will be arranged something like this. This is one generator connected to other generator. Here power is pe1, here power is pe2. Now if you assume the line as lossless, then pe2 will be equal to minus pe1. Okay, we consider the transmission line between the generators to be lossless. Now what to do is, since these equations cannot be directly combined, what parameter do I need? Here the angle is delta 1, here the angle is delta 2. We know that power is directly proportional to sine of delta 1 minus delta 2. So I need this angle delta 1 minus delta 2. To obtain this, multiply first equation by m2 and second by m1. Subtract both the equations. So m1 m2 will become d square by dt square delta 1 minus delta 2 plus m2 pm1 minus m1 pm2. Okay, then minus m2 pe1 minus m1 pe2. Now we can write for a lossless system pe2 is equal to minus pe1. So it will be m1 m2 d square delta, let us call delta 1 minus delta 2 as delta, m2 pm1 minus m1 pm2 minus m1 plus m2 pe1. Now what you do is divide both sides by m1 plus m2. So what I will get is m1 m2 by m1 plus m2 d square delta by dt square will be equal to m2 pm1 minus m1 pm2 minus pe1 divided by m1 plus m2. So this is actually pm equivalent, this is pe, and this is m equivalent, which is equal to m1 m2 by m1 plus m2, like the inertia constants have been added in parallel. So this is the combination that we use in case of incoherent swinging, okay, when both the machines have different rotor angles. So this way you can calculate the m, and if you wish to calculate h, then convert this constant to h, as m will be equal to g system h equivalent by pi f. Okay, this way you can find the equivalent value of h. So that is when both the machines do not swing coherently. So let us summarize what we have covered in this lecture. First we saw what is meant by stability and the different types of stability, that is voltage, frequency and angular stability. Then we saw inertia constant m was equal to half m omega s is equal to kinetic energy. and GH is also equal to kinetic energy. M has the unit megajoule second per electrical radian. H has the unit megajoule per MVA. We understood the relation between M and H. M is equal to GH by pi F or GH by 180F depending upon we are taking electrical radian or electrical degree. J is the machine base in MVA. Then we saw swing equation, which was M d square delta by dt square is equal to Pm minus Pe. Here Pm and Pe are in megawatt, or H by pi F d square delta by dt square equal to Pm minus Pe. Here Pm and Pe are in Pu. Then we saw for the case of coherent swing, we can combine two machines into one, where M will be equal to M1 plus M2. In case of incoherent swing, we can combine two machines into one, where M will be equal to M1 M2 by M1 plus M2. Okay, this is what we have covered in this lecture. So these are the general concepts of synchronous machine that will be used when we will be dealing with steady state and the transient stability. So in this unit we will only cover the steady state and transient stability. Other stabilities are beyond the scope of GATE course. So we will use these concepts in the coming lectures.
So my friend, if you want to join Unacademy, if you liked the lecture, if you like the content that you have just watched, and you have decided that Unacademy is the right place for you, and you want to learn with me, you want to learn from me, then don't hesitate, because that is where we are conducting free classes every day that will boost your GATE rank. So if you decide to take subscription, click on GATE and ESE, click on get subscription. After this, you can choose the plan that you want to opt for. The final year and dropper can take 1 year plan, second and the third year can take 2 year plan. But don't forget to use the code Ankit ESE. This will give you 10% off, as well as it will bring you under my guidance. And as you can see, the prices are really affordable, my friend. It is much less than any other institute can offer you. And that is why I keep repeating, Unacademy is not an academy. It is a revolution. It is a feeling. You can make the payment by credit, debit card, EMI, net banking. Also, EMI is available on debit card, but for HDFC debit card and Bajaj Finserv debit card. So if you are from a weak financial background, you can pay the amount in installments, but only use the code Ankit ESE. And my friend, these are some videos where I have told how to study, how to get the best rank in GATE, and these videos will really help you in cracking GATE. So make sure that you watch each and every one of them. And my friend, these are our other channels, like for mechanical we have, for civil also we have, for computer science we have for SSC, JEE, all branches, electrical, mechanical, civil. And on this channel we have the previous year question video solution, that too free of cost. And many more channels will be coming very soon for you guys. So be a part of our YouTube family, and you can take the benefit of all the free content that we are bringing. And my friend, this is my Telegram channel, where you will find the notes of each and every lecture that I take. And this is my Unacademy profile, which you can follow to watch my content for free on Unacademy, because there also I am taking regular free classes. So if you can't afford to join Unacademy, then keep associated with us, keep sharing the content that we are providing, and work towards making this YouTube family bigger and better. We'll keep bringing more and more content for you, and the only fees that you have to pay, my friend, is that you have to work hard and you have to share and like each and every video that we are uploading. So that way this family gets bigger. Even the student in a rural area can take the benefit of the free initiatives that we have started. And my friend, you also get the best rank in GATE without having to stress about how to pay. So if you can't be paying or you can't afford to pay, then make sure that you are building this YouTube family, a bigger and a better YouTube family, the biggest and the best community of all electrical engineers. So that is all from my side. See you again in the next lecture. Thank you.